Call this meeting to order. The regular Fayette County Commissioners meeting. We'll begin with the pledge. Please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome everyone and please ask you to silence your phones if you haven't already. We'll go ahead and get started this morning with minutes. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes as
I'll
presented.
move to approve minutes of the last meeting.
I'll second.
Been a motion made to approve the minutes of the November 4th meeting as presented. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes. We'll begin with departments. Julissa, we're going to discuss a contract extension today, as well as try to create some dates for
streets.
if you want to do that while you're here.
We can.
We'll have that discussion as well.
Okay,
If-
that would be great.
If we can,
Um,
then that way you won't have to stick around.
that sounds good to me. On the first item that's on the agenda, we were talking about the fact that the contractor had requested an extension on the time frame for the paving of the roads through the community crossing matching grant. The first agreement that we had with them, came back and basically projected that they would be done at the end of October. The second time that we had met with them, the very first change order that they had submitted to us had basically stated that by October 30th, they were to have a substantial amount completed, and that the final completion of that was to be November 27th. They were not aware that that first change order, I guess, had been approved, that the time frame had changed in there. So basically, they'd come back to us and ask for a time extension till the end of November. So November 30th is what they're requesting. So we're actually looking at 3 days from what the original, not from what the original, but from what the last one is. That's what they're requesting. Basically, they said that one of the reasons that they had been delayed was because where they're receiving their payment from, the payment wasn't coming from China, but some of the parts to the equipment that had broke down, they were waiting on parts from China, and due to COVID, it had put them behind. They're supposed to get their paving tomorrow. They're going to start paving again tomorrow, and they said that they would pave every day until they get it completed. They're hoping to have the pavement completed the 24th or 25th, and then do the striping. It's supposed to rain those next few days, and then do the striping on the 28th. But they wanted those couple of extra days just in case.
So if we get substantially done before winter sets in, and for instance, we can't stripe, we can
Right.
get everything done but striping, and it has to wait till spring, will that keep us from going ahead and filing for the next grant?
It will not. I went ahead and contacted Kim Bodell just to make sure with everything that's been going on. They have changed their programs now. We have 18 months to completion instead of the 12 months.
And still can
Yes, we can still go in
apply
January.
for the first draw?
Yes, it was one of those.
Okay. I think that's Dale and I's, was
Yeah.
Dale and I's concern that we would lose out on the first draw.
Right, mine too.
Application.
Yeah.
So
We don't lose nothing by extending it 3 days.
No, and it's one of those things. I've talked to the construction engineer, and Jay and Bill could probably tell you a lot more than I could when it comes to the actual paving part of it. But I don't think 3 days is too much of them to ask of us. After that, when the weather's really going to start dropping, then you're going to start talking about liquidation damages. And that's not a word the contractor wants to hear, or any of us wants to hear.
my priority is not lying in the paint striping.
Right.
If it's questionable, I would just assume they wait till spring
Right.
to do the striping. So we get a good adherence with the paint.
Pile off.
Right,
Yeah, but I would like to see all the asphalt down
right. And that's one of the
yet
things,
this fall.
and that's one of the things the construction engineer is really trying to pay attention to. You know, he's went through that extended forecast and you know, he said, this day, you can't do it this day, it's just too close to that line that NDOT, you know, has drawn. We don't want soupy pavement. So, you know, he is really on top of that as far as that goes.
Are we all right with what we've heard this morning, or this afternoon then, as far as? But my only big concern was the fact that if we lost our opportunity to apply for our next, the
Yes,
first
we
drive.
want our million next
Yeah,
year.
Yeah, sure. I certainly wanted to stay in the first round of applications for 2021.
just because we'll have the second round
Right.
yet to fall
if
back
something
on.
happens.
Yeah. So, this 3-day extension would not hamper our ability to do that.
Correct.
Just for the sake of curiosity, would there be anything to our advantage by not granting a 3-day extension?
Like I said, we could start talking about liquidation damages and the such. I mean, you know, Jeff could probably advise you more on that.
You're forfeiting liquidated damages, but other than that, I don't see.
Yeah. Well, my only real concern is seeing that the work gets done this season. And according to the weather forecast, they should be able to do that. And, you know, I'll be happy to see the work done for sure.
Right.
But, you know,
I'll entertain a motion then to grant the extension to the 27th,
That'd be till the 30th.
or the 30th, I'm sorry. Yeah.
November 30.
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion to grant an extension of the CCG contract with O'Mara Paving until November 30.
Is that substantial completion or?
It will be
Total.
both. They've asked that both be moved till November 30th. They should be complete, they're going to be completely done.
Providing it doesn't get too cold for strike.
Right.
I mean, like I said, I'd just soon wait till spring
If we have to.
if
right.
they're questionable on whether the striping will stick or not.
Right. And we've had some mild weather for November.
Do you
Really
need to
have.
include that about the striping in that motion?
I don't know. I think probably you can pass that on to Chad, can't you?
Right, and you know, I'll just tell Chad, we would rather it be a good job. We want something that's gonna last. And he is, like I said, he's on top of this. It's supposed to be this degrees, and I don't think that he'll push them to have it done unless it's,
All right.
Okay, I'll second the motion.
Motion made and seconded that we grant the extension to November 30th for completion of that contract. Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes, motion carries. Thank you. Now you have some, if you guys don't mind, we'll just go on, we'll jump down to for next year's roads and while Jolissa's
Right.
here and.
the only thing would be is I'm not sure that I'm the right person for you to talk to about it. When it comes to the grant application side, I sure am. But when it comes to the condition of the roads, it's probably a Bill and Jay question.
I guess I'm more concerned about drop dead dates
timeline,
and
okay.
timelines, and so that we can get set for a special meeting if we need to, so we can come back possibly by either the first meeting or shortly after that.
Okay.
With a decision.
The actual application is going to be due at the end of January. Last year, for whatever reason, it was pushed off until February 7th. So you're looking at that last week of January, that first week of February is when the application has to be submitted. I had talked to Michael Mang with Butler Fairman, and he had stated the sooner the better to get started with this, because of one of those things that, as they're putting the cost estimates together, you're looking at, oh, we got to drop this part in order to get it to fit within our budget, or maybe we can add this part. One of the things I do want to stress is let's do the alternate bidding this year.
Yeah, so you've
We
got
could
some
have
options.
easily have added that other little part in to this year if we would have known to do the alternate bidding. So just, one of the things I want to keep in the forefronts of our mind is to make sure that we have another alternative if
If
we
it-
want to use
Yeah.
the full million if we possibly can. So
So that was certainly a lesson learned.
it was a hard lesson learned.
Yeah. Would you gentlemen be willing, maybe next Tuesday, sitting down and we'll go over the roads with Bill and Jay and try to come up with a format that we can send to Butler to do the cost estimates off of?
Yeah.
Tuesday of next week.
Yeah. Does that work, or?
I think so. Be Tuesday the 24th.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay with me.
Does that work for you guys? Maybe 1 o'clock or shortly after lunch, or 12:30 or 1, or does that work, Mark?
Yeah.
What's best, 1 o'clock okay, or?
One's fine. Don't matter to me.
All right.
If I can't be there, I'll make sure somebody is at my place.
Where's that
Can you
gonna be
advertise
that?
I'm sorry? 1 o'clock for the 24th? Reference to, going over the Pazer.
Where's it gonna be at?
Let's just do it here,
Okay.
In your guys' offices, right here.
in the boardroom.
And I don't know the map of the different roads that have been paved to date that Michael Mang had emailed me. I had forwarded all to you guys. I didn't get it till today, so I don't know if you got it before the meeting or not. I think I had sent it to both of you. I sent it to the highway email. That might be something that you reference as you.
Jeff, can you do this administratively?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just do an administrative meeting then. That way we won't make any decisions, we'll just, official decisions, and then will the December meeting, December 1st, be soon enough
That
to
should
do
be
an
fine.
official action on it?
Yeah, that should be fine.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Your actual application though is due January 31st.
Well, it will be sometime that last week or the first week of February. Last year was February 7th, so.
Okay.
But we've got see, we don't have any advertisement, that's for the bidding, that's after the.
Right, that's after it.
acceptance. Okay,
With us going in for that round in January, everything will be awarded, and we usually go for advertising, I want to say February, March, so
okay.
we move pretty quickly on those.
So we'll just go through roads and kind of get a game plan next Tuesday, and then we'll come back into the first meeting of December and make official decision.
I wonder, will we have an updated map from Butler Fairman?
The one that they submitted, I had emailed it to you, but I didn't get it till this afternoon, so
Oh, okay,
I'm
I
not sure.
haven't seen it.
If you need anything else from them, just let me know and I'll contact you.
Okay.
Would you like for one of them to be here?
Yeah, if Michael could
Because
be
if not,
here.
we can have him zoom in if we need to, or,
If
or
Michael
actually
could
can.
be here, that'd be great.
Okay. I will pass the word along. Is
All
there
right,
any
thank you.
questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So that takes care of Community Crossings next application. That's done on new business now. Great. All right, we'll move on down. Jeff, you have a request for us today, I think?
Yes, we are ready to move forward on our software conversion. We're on schedule, a month ahead of schedule, actually.
Great.
We've got our training scheduled for December 3rd and 4th, and I'd like to request to close the office all day long for the assessor's office for training,
3rd and 4th?
3rd and 4th. It's a Thursday and a Friday.
Everybody will be in there, in that training.
Yes.
Yeah. Will that interrupt any deadlines coming due for your office or?
Actually, no, we've completed our reassessment for this year.
Okay,
We have
great.
some new construction, won't take a
So we
few
won't
days.
have any customers up against deadlines or anything?
No, the only thing that should come up would be sales disclosures, which there's a, time period there. We've got plenty of time.
All right. Sure.
And that was December 3 and 4, right?
That's correct.
Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, and we should be going live that following Monday, the 7th.
Okay, great. And you say it's a month ahead of your
Yes.
original intent?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Is there any other questions for Jeff? Is there a motion to approve the request?
I'll move to approve the assessor's request to close the office to the general public for training purposes all day on December the 3rd and 4th.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made and seconded to approve the request of the assessor's office to be closed to the public for December 3rd and 4th due to training on new software. Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes, motion approved. Thank you,
Thank you, I
Jeff.
appreciate it.
Good luck
Have
with
a good
that.
day.
Hope it all works out good.
We're already excited. We've been able to play in it for a while, so
Oh, good.
we like it.
Good. Matt, you have an update for us today and
Update and a 144.
144 request?
I do have a change to the 144. I brought a different one. And it's in the pay rate because the local health maintenance grant that I'm paying out of specifically states 1106 is the pay. So that's why I brought a different 144. So
Salary ordinance for the local health maintenance grant, though, says 909.
okay, so that's why I've got them both.
Okay.
Because the last time we did this with Katie or on this local health maintenance, you looked at
Because-
the price on here and said we had to go by that.
Well, they have to match.
Okay,
So the ordinance
okay,
is 909.
okay. But I knew you wanted this to match too, so I don't know which, do you want me to?
As a new employee, you should have to match the salary ordinance.
Okay.
So unless you can get council to redo the
Okay,
salary
no,
ordinance.
salary is fine, I just
Yeah.
knew it because it was a grant. And I just want to make sure this won't be a problem, that it says 1106 on the grant. So, do you know what I'm talking about on this page?
Yeah,
Okay.
I know what you're
Okay,
talking
then
about.
I'm fine with the 909
Okay.
one. I just didn't, I was trying to avoid a problem,
Right.
so.
Okay, so
But Mary King is the one that's doing our testing on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And she said, hey, I'm available on Tuesday and Wednesday because we're really busy on Tuesdays and Wednesdays also, just answering the phone and answering messages and stuff like that. So the local health maintenance that we have part-time clerical hired through, there's quite a bit of money left in that fund. And then we also applied for it next year, so we'll have money in it for next year as well. So I'm asking to be able to hire her on Tuesdays and Thursdays as a part-time clerical help. So it wouldn't be the same as her Monday, Wednesday job, Monday, Wednesday, Friday testing job. It's just be in the office doing clerical. So, and it'd be paid through the grant. And then we're going to have some carryover available, so I'm going to request that we actually take that into next year. Hopefully we'll be able to use it next year as well, but I have to request that through the state. So I think I know how to do it. Now we have plenty of money, I believe, left at least this year, and then I have a new grant for next year. So.
okay. Jane, is this going to create a nightmare for Amanda, or is this going to work okay? Two different pay raise
She's,
for single?
for the testing, she's a contract employee.
Yeah.
We didn't want to hire her as an employee. So
She's
she's
hired-
paid through the claims process.
Yeah.
Okay, she's paid through
So,
the claims.
yeah, there
Okay.
would be no,
There's no problem now,
Yeah.
yeah.
So she's, yeah, on the other one, she just turns in a claim. She doesn't
Yeah.
actually turn in
All right.
payrolls. So she did that, the first one already, so for her first pay period, because we did get our first 50,000 for the bioterrorism, for the COVID testing, so we did finally get some money from the COVID testing of the 100,000. So then we'll turn in a claim for the second 50,000 here soon, so.
Okay.
I'll move to approve the 144 for Mary King.
Is there a second?
Now, is this the original version?
Yeah, the 909.
Oh, okay.
Because I brought the other one up to make sure, I didn't want to go, run into a problem later, so.
Okay, I'll second the motion to approve 144 for Mary King.
There's a motion made and seconded that we approve the request for the 144 request for Mary King. Should be hired as a part-time clerical. Her work schedule will be Tuesdays and Thursdays. Is there any other discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes, motion carries.
Thank you. As far as, okay, like I said, I did let you know that we did get the 50,000 for the COVID testing. Mary called down to the highway garage today to ask about getting some, I forget who she talked to, we got to make signs.
Wasn't me.
Yeah, she talked to somebody down there, he's coming by tomorrow to talk about making an actual sign up and putting it out here for the testing area, just, it's something that won't blow off. And then I'm gonna have to probably just post something more on the door in the front here, because the wind's playing havoc on the sign outside, so I think if I could just put that orange sign on the door, keep people from, it works real well to see down there, so. I know, from some other counties, they're having stuff inside that, the parking lot option is still our best option, but I just gotta make sure people know that stay in your cars, so. So I'm gonna meet with him tomorrow about making some signs to put up permanent, so I don't know if, I wanna make sure that'll be all right. But like where we're testing out here now, we just have a sign on a post that says, stay in your car, call this number for COVID testing.
I don't know. Did you find a new location yet?
Not yet. I mean, nothing
It's gonna work.
for sure.
Yeah.
Matt, you and I had some discussion about moving this testing site away from the courthouse. And it seems that, incidents upstairs here continue to happen, even though they don't get reported directly to you. People coming in up here and looking for a place to get tested. And it's causing some distress among some of the, especially the employees that are come face to face with these people that think they have COVID. I still believe, and I would hope that the other two commissioners would agree, that to isolate our testing site away from the courthouse in the long run would be the best option. And I'm still asking you to help us find a new location as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I know you and I, we both had a discussion about using the Red Cross building up at
Yeah.
Roberts Park.
I know we discussed that, and I really, I thought that I didn't see the amount of testing I didn't foresee the amount of testing that we're doing, so it's kind of surprised me. And I really thought we'd settle into a groove. But no, we're doing 60 tests, about per day than when we're operating, so we did 60 on Friday, so we're doing a lot of tests. And yeah, I don't want them coming in upstairs either. I'll do anything I can to keep that from happening. If we do move it off-site, there's going to be a lot of logistical problems and stuff too. So if I move it off-site, she can't do it on her own. I'm actually got usually 2 other people doing registrations when she's doing testing. So it takes all the 3 people to do it. But so I'd have to send that other person to staff, and I have to have phones and internet. Well, I have internet, so I have Wi-Fi, but we'll have to have phone service set up as well. So. But it can be done. I'm not opposed to it. I never was, because I'm still concerned about wintertime, trying to do testing outside in the wintertime. So So I've been with you guys, I've been doing it one day at a time, trying to figure out the best options and what's best for getting the test done and reporting and all that stuff. Because I just talked to Wayne County, who's doing it in the old Elder Berman building, and they were really upset because people were coming inside and sick, you know, and actually getting sick inside, and you know, then they'd have to deal with sick people in the building, and as far as somebody just there to get a test. So yeah, we're all learning on this.
Are you doing appointments by text messages?
They're registering online, but the ones that can't register online, not everybody's capable of registering online. They call our office, and we will sit down at the computer and do the registration for them.
Is there a way to, on that application, make it very clear that this is, you will never leave your vehicle, you do not come inside the courthouse?
No, because it's not there now. We are not in control of the application, and I can make a request to the site, but I'm not happy with the registration site anyway, because that's why we're spending so much extra time doing registrations. Is you get on there, you put your name in, you put your date of birth, and you pick a site and you register, and it says and it does your registration, and gives you a time, and then everybody thinks they're done. But then there's the 4-page questionnaire that has to be completed before we can test you. So everybody has a time, they show up, and their registration's not done. So I've been messaging there saying, you guys need to make sure you get this done before you give them a time. And it's
Same person must have wrote that one that wrote the DMV, or the BMV online. Because theirs is the same way. You get to the end, you think you're at the end when it gives you your time, and in reality, you're not at the end. There's more pages.
Yeah. So I'm still working, I'm still asking for changes on the registration site to make it more office friendly. Right now, it's completely user friendly, but it's not.
Well, the only way we're going to stop it is people from coming in the courthouse is put somebody at the front door.
So,
As long as the testing is done here.
the sign out front, would it be better if I had, take to the door, or, is that, yeah. The reason people came in the other day is because my sign blew away. We picked it up over at CVS yesterday, so.
Well,
Well, the main concern, Matt, is the added risk to healthy employees upstairs here.
But are we doing, like downstairs, we have the table up and the distance, so when they come in to my office, they're still 6 feet away.
it doesn't help. It doesn't help their
It doesn't help.
mental
Yeah. I
thoughts.
understand.
That's
Like I said, I'm willing to do whatever you guys want me to do. So I just know we have to provide the testing. The drive-through testing is working great. The only issue we have is keeping people out. So whatever I need to do to keep people out, I will go out of my way to do. So.
Well, if our site was more isolated from everything else, that would be ideal. Now, I shared with you, and I think everyone else, I was really disappointed with the little building up there at the park. They wanted $720 a month
And it
to
doesn't.
rent that. Well, you can rent a 4 or 5 room house for $450 a month.
I don't think it had an outhouse set up too. So.
Do you are you aware of any other off-site locations that might be suitable that we could?
No, offhand. Not that I'm aware of. So I haven't. I know that is the old EMS building. Is it not suitable, or is it?
The Dollar General store?
No, the old EMS up there by the ball, where the industrial park.
it's sitting.
Oh,
Is it a suitable building?
But see, I don't know that it's got phone.
Yeah.
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 I guess I suggested to Dale maybe go up to the new EMS building.
Mm-hmm.
You could still do it outside, but that doesn't have.
Doesn't have an entry.
Well, it doesn't have people coming and going
Mm-hmm.
all day long like here.
Yeah.
And so but I don't know, did you get a chance to talk to Chad or anybody from the city?
No, I thought you were going to talk to Chad.
Okay. But I wondered about that, because they'd have the phone capabilities, the internet capabilities there.
What about the fairgrounds
Um,
up there at
Expo Hall.
the
Expo Hall.
Expo Hall?
They, my past histories, they don't do anything without payment either, so.
So I don't know.
But we do have some funds available for rent, though, in the grant, so. So
Yeah,
just-
but at the same time, we don't want to be
Yeah.
stupid about it, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
But you,
Because I have that, the way I have it set up
$720
now
a
is I
month
have
is
it,
stupid.
yeah,
It's being stupid about it.
the way I have that in there now is I have it set to reimburse the county for the use of the health department. So, so we're gonna set up and pay you guys for letting us use the health department. So if we turn around and have to pay somebody else for using their facility, we're gonna be out the fund, so.
the only other thing that we have available is the old Dollar General store, and
It might be, you know, that we can use these funds to make some improvements to where it can be useful.
well, we know the electric is shut off. The heat over there hasn't been running so many years, nobody has any idea if it works or not. And the last report that I had, when we did that study over at the jail, it listed it as having no working restroom facilities and that sort of thing.
It's gonna be a lot.
I-
It's gonna be a
I don't know what all's wrong over
remodel
there.
project to start with.
Yeah, it may not be a 15 or 20 day fix, you
Yeah.
know, to get it up and going.
Porta potty in there.
Okay, let me run that past
Okay.
Like I said, any,
the mayor.
anything you want me to do or want me to check on, or like I said, I apologize for losing the sign the other day. We had the newspaper in again yesterday. They're gonna do another article. So, I mean, we're stressing that, you know, our, to not come in, but not everybody gets the paper, not everybody sees social media, so.
Right.
Did you find out how many people from Connersville are in the hospital up there in Richmond?
Not specifically from Connersville. I was on the Reed call this morning, and Reed is, they are seeing quite a number of cases. So they do have a lot of cases up at Reed, but I don't know specifically.
The other day I received, it was either 83 or 85 in the COVID, on the COVID floor. But I don't know,
Their numbers
they
were.
couldn't tell, the person that told me those numbers couldn't tell me whether they were Fayette County,
Right.
Wayne County,
They serve
Rip
a
Lake County,
much larger area, yeah.
of where it's at, because and I don't know how close to being max that is.
Yeah.
I don't know what they've got capabilities.
They were, the way it came from me is we're near max capacity. But that's without hindering any other services. So they still have the ability to do more, but they'd have to cancel some other stuff.
Yeah.
So, and then they don't want to cancel, you know, their regular services because of it. So,
The elective services
yeah, so.
was what I was told.
But I think a lot of it's staffing, you know, it's not space issues, it's staffing. A lot of their staff are, I mean, they're short-staffed like everybody else because there's a lot of isolation and quarantine, people sick, so they're short-staffed, and the people that are working are stressed, so that's why we're definitely in the time period of telling everybody to you know, take precautions.
I was told that community health was in the neighborhood of 20% of their employees were out.
On a good note, though, I do, by looking at our numbers and running them, I believe we're going to be orange tomorrow instead of red on our county map.
Oh, that's good.
But I'll tell you, by the new numbers for the following week, I think we're going to be red again. So we're going to be orange for a week, but we're going to be going back to red. So, but we're getting a lot of, you know, everybody seems to follow. We're you know, trying to get the information out there from the governor and what he's he's requesting everybody do, and we're working with everybody locally to do that. You know, encourage masking, encourage our businesses to take precautions and step up. So we're asking everybody to step up. Regardless of personal opinions right now, we know that it is there's a heavy outbreak going on right now. Seeing a lot of family groups. This is the big part of the transmission is family groups. Somebody will get it and bring it back to the whole family. So we're seeing a lot of family groups. So we're asking everybody to, take those precautions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. All right. Bill, do you have anything for us? Is Michael still in here? He's not here? Okay. Jay? I'm sure you've got something, don't you?
Always.
Always, yeah. We can always depend on you.
That could be a good thing, that could be a
Could
bad
be
thing.
a bad thing.
We've been finishing up some cans and trying to get some patching done. We're putting gravel down on the sides of the roads that they paved. And we're trying to retrofit a couple of the big trucks with side conveyors so we can put gravel down with them too, so we can get more area covered. Because right now the small trucks just aren't cutting it. It takes too long. And we had a couple of them old conveyors that they had used to stick in the tailgate. And they told me I was nuts. I drug one of them in, threw it up on the table and started tearing it apart to make sure it still runs. We're putting it back together. We'll see. I wanted to ask you if you had any idea on the furnaces that we sent you the bids on. I know I got it somewhere.
You all received it in your mailbox, didn't you?
Yeah.
I think that's where I found mine. You have two, the way I understand it, you have two bids here.
Yes, one from Cartersville Heating and Cooling and the other one from Fields.
And they both have two different options.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I personally, I know it's more money, but I think it's a better furnace and a better heating system. I like the bid from Fields on the tube heating,
Well,
radiant heating.
The radiant heaters are great. I'm having personal experience with them. I really like them. Now, in this one bid from Fields, he didn't list some information on there. So I called this fella and asked him what brand, who was the manufacturer of the unit he was selling, along with its BTU rating. And he told me that the unit he was bidding was called an Omega 2, built by a company, I'll tell you here in just a second. Built by a company called Combustion Industries, which is, I Googled them, and they're supposed to be one of the better manufacturers. But the one from Connersville Heating and Cooling is made by a company called Schwank, and it is a 205,000 BTU unit. Now, both bidders was expecting to install 2 units. They would be placed between the overhead doors, running north and south. If they were 20 feet above the floor, they would have a heat footprint of 40 feet wide at floor level at 20 feet up. I didn't step that off when I was down there the other day. I was looking at the from the doors to the back end, about 60 feet.
Yeah, I think it is 60 feet.
Got about
more out.
60 feet of room up overhead
Yeah.
to hang something like that.
60 feet from the doors to the back wall, and it's 120 feet
I think so.
from the office wall to the west wall.
Yeah. 2 units may not be enough.
Well, we've got the other heater in there too. That's what we're figuring, that third heater is still there. That
Yeah.
gas heater back there against the west wall. That's all he's heating with right now.
You're leaving it.
Yeah, we're leaving it in there. We're just trying to replace the 2 old oil heaters that are right there in the center.
So what was the?
But those are their
BTUs
shots.
on Fields? Did you ask?
200,000.
200,000.
Yeah. Only 5,000 BTU difference between the 2 units.
And the
That's
central heating was 200,
205.
205. Okay. I was thinking you said 250.
Here's the only problem I got with either one of these quotes. Me being the tightwad I am, I think they're both too high. These heating units, they only retail, they were both retail for less than $2,000 each.
So most of it's labor.
What
I mean, even if they're $3,000 a piece.
I've installed mine myself, and it's not that hard.
So you're
You're-
willing to do the install then?
Well, I know how. If I can get 20 feet above the floor somehow. But that's my only gripe about it is knowing what the units actually cost. And then you look at the total here. One is $20,220. The other is
13 or 14.8.
$14,800. That's
Well, the
including,
1480 includes the ceiling fan.
includes 3 fans.
Yeah.
That's my gripe about it, you know. So I don't know if we do any better with getting an additional quote from other heating.
Trouble is, we're not having any luck getting any other quotes. That's the problem.
And we also
Didn't
got
you-
winter coming.
Didn't you call? Wasn't you gonna call Bader's or
B&B Air.
B&B Air?
Now, I tried them. I called them over at Oxford. Because the one in Indianapolis said it wasn't there no more. When I called the phone.
Well,
And the one over there at Oxford was supposed to come over, they never showed up, so I don't know what's going on.
okay, as far as I know, the location there in Indianapolis is still there, I think on 42nd Street. Bill Bismarck is the one that started that company. But they sell a different brand. The brand they specialize in is Roberts Gordon heaters. And but price-wise, the heaters themselves are real close in cost, no matter what brand you buy.
Well, I know who put ours in up at the farm. Dean.
Who?
Deem. D-E-E-M. Out of, I think they've got a place in Richmond. Deem well, I don't know if it's heating and cooling or, they do a lot of commercial work.
Well, I know that aside from hanging the heaters, that's no big deal. There'd have to be a gas line run, an electric line run, and for a
Well, the electric line would be there from the old oil furnaces.
thermostat control.
Yeah, but the gas line, you'd have to run another line for it.
Yeah.
Tie off the main line.
Well, I know these are good heaters. I'm wondering if this is the best deal we can get. That's, you know, we don't have to accept either one of these, but I just wanted to share that with you guys, because that's for about $3,000, $3,000 to $3,500 for the actual equipment. It seems like an awful lot of money for installation. Jay, you know how tight I am with money. Is there any danger of anything freezing up down there before we get this settled?
Morris,
Morris? Well, we don't worry about him.
that's in Richmond?
No, they're out of Indy. I thought they were at a place in Richmond. They've got guys down here. There's one guy that lives here in Fayette County that works with mechanical contractors. They put in ours.
What do you think?
Their farm.
I would get it cheaper, but I don't want them guys freezing either.
Yeah. Well, they still got heat down there, but
Them units ain't that
Right.
expensive.
no, listen here, they cost $2,700.
Getting kind of late in the year now.
But how do you justify that amount? to-
60.
Overhead. Big overhead.
Way
overhead.
Okay, that's Dean.
These,
I think somebody come in cheaper.
these here, I think they were about 1,800
Okay.
each. So the units themselves are not very expensive.
So I don't know.
And that still price is what, 14, that's
14 Yeah. So I just want to share that with you guys, and
I
see
think-
what you say about it.
Why don't we give them until the next meeting and see if we can come up with somebody else, and if not, then we'll go with the LEDs talk.
No, field's
Cause
been,
it's getting close to winter.
yeah, I don't want to put it off any more than, I
I
mean.
don't want more
if-
freezing.
if
Tell
you
Morris he
want-
can come down my barn and ski it.
If you
I
guys
told him
want
that
to,
the
we'll
last time. He wants
advertise
you through 'em about
Tuesday
that.
as a special meeting, so if he can bring bids in, we can make a decision on Tuesday.
I don't care if he can get them, if he can get quotes by then, but it's,
I mean,
if you guys think that is a good deal,
no, I don't think it's a
I
good
don't think
deal.
it's a good deal,
But-
it's the best of the two.
They're the only two that's come down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, we can have Jane advertise Tuesday's meeting as a special meeting to possibly act on this and do our roads thing,
Yeah.
it wouldn't hurt anything,
just to be on the safe side. And if Jay can get an
That would
estimate
hurry
by
the
then.
process up a little.
yeah.
Yep. I'll give them a call and see if they'll come down.
Jay, who's these people that own Cold Iron now? You know,
Didn't they go into Carsville Heating?
Cold Iron,
Cold Iron is bought by that business in Richmond.
yeah, it's a Richmond business.
Can't remember the
I
name
can't
of
think
it
who it
now.
is, because I know they left their building over there, because they've got a little store in there now.
Yeah.
But
But
they're, you know,
they didn't buy the bricks and mortar, they just bought the business, I think.
Yeah. But they're, they still do all the regular service work and everything else, installation and everything around here.
Trying to think what their name is.
I can't
They
recall
put my
right
furnace
now.
in.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Dick Hill.
Yeah, Dick Hill and Son.
Okay, Dick Hill.
Yep, that's it.
Man.
These, these units are not hard to get. I mean, you can buy them on eBay. And as far as one brand being better than another, I can't find any reason to think one is any better than another. They all work the same.
I'm convinced that they're the most efficient for garage bays.
They are, and they're proven to run 30 to 50% cheaper
Cheaper, yeah.
than your regular forced air heating units. And in the long run, I think it's a good investment to make. There's practically nothing that can go wrong with them. They're very, very simple.
Have you seen some of the guys down there at the highway department?
Pardon?
They can break an anvil.
Oh,
With a rubber hammer.
my grandpa.
As my grandpa used to say.
My grandpa used to say the same thing about me.
But I've heard you'll have more trouble with cobwebs than anything in them if you have problems. You can just go up there and blow everything out after you start back up.
I
the
can
next
see
fall.
how a cobweb around the igniter might kind of
Yeah.
cause a little problem, but that's nothing.
Okay, well, why don't we do that, Jay? Try your best to get a third one
Okay, I'll see what I can find
by
out.
next week, and if,
Tell them guys they can lower theirs if they want.
Tell them what?
They can lower their bids if they want.
you know, the thing of it is, even if they're $3,000 a piece, that's that's $7,000 he's wants for labor.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it's not a big job.
well, it's evidently they've got, even if you had to rent a lift, you know, it's just 1 day's rent,
Yeah.
2 days rent at the most, and
Well, I know with our bucket truck and everything, if Jay's guys didn't have anything else to do, they could put them things up, no problem. But I'm not gonna lay that on you. I'm not gonna, no.
You want to get me lynched, aren't you?
Nah, but I know you guys could do it. It takes no special skill. And you've got the equipment to do it, but we'll leave that to the contractor. We'll see. I want to keep you guys
well, let's see what we
out
can
on
do
the
for
road.
next,
Okay.
by next Tuesday on getting another quote, and we'll try to act next Tuesday, and
That's all I have.
if we can't, we'll, all right. Any questions for Jay? Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Bill, you said you didn't have anything, right? Okay. We'll move on to mail. I think Jane wanted to point out that there was a thank you in the letter to the editor for Connersville paper today. Was it today's paper?
Yes.
Yeah.
Addressing the commissioners and our work that we've done out Springersville area and whatnot with the highway department, with all the can replacement and the new roads that have been paved out there in that area. Any other mail, Jane, that needed to be? Anybody else have anything else under mail? We'll move on to old business. Any old business?
Under old business, I will bring up one item. This morning, our committee at EDG had a meeting for the applications for the Okra Phase 2 forgivable loan program that we got going now. And so far, we've received 7 applications, and we'll have $250,000 to dispense in this second round 2, just like round 1. And we agreed this morning to set a deadline of December the 4th for applicants to get their applications in. So with only 7 applications, there is room left for more to be served with these.
Is there a maximum?
Maximum $25,000 for forgivable loans.
That's what I thought.
So I want to share that with you guys and the listeners at home, that if you've been considering this, you've got until December the 4th to apply, and you can do so by calling the Economic Development Office and asking for an application, either by phone or online. So they do expect us to have this money paid out by the end of the year. So that's the reason for the December 4th deadline we've set in receiving applications. That will give us just barely enough time to do what we need to do with the applications and get all the paperwork prepared and get checks written by the end of the year.
So they will be able to have it in their hands before the end of the year? the
Yes.
Applicants. Okay, great. That's good. All right. That's, anything else?
Yeah, that's all I have under old business.
We'll move on to new business. Heather Caldwell from the Extension Office has sent up the next year's contract agreement with the Extension, or Purdue University. Is requesting our signature on that. That dollar amount, the contract basically did not change any. The contract amount would be $44,820 for the year of 2021. The first, or the claim would be turned in, the invoice would be issued on or about April 1st of next year. This was a real uphill battle in the beginning to try to get Purdue University to hear us, but I think they have, and I think they're in the process of fulfilling our needs here at the county level, and I applaud the group that's down there right now with what they've done.
They're doing better, Purdue is.
Are
Yeah.
we gonna pay this all at one time, or are we gonna pay part and then pay
Does
later?
it come,
They normally
Two
invoice it
payments.
all up.
oh, up front, isn't it?
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, when we split the payments was the year that we weren't happy with them. Yeah,
Yes,
and we
that's
kinda-
right. Yeah.
We paid part while we were waiting
So
for
we
them,
wanna still
so
do that, or just pay the whole?
I would think we could pay the whole amount. I mean, as long as we're satisfied.
Anything goes
Right.
wrong, we gotta go up there and get them then.
We just don't pray
I
that nothing
think-
goes wrong.
Well, I think you'll have control of that once the claim comes, because it'll go through a claims process, right?
Yeah.
So if there's any questions, once the claim is presented, then
Okay.
the current board at that time can.
I'll move to approve the contract with Purdue University and Extension Office.
I'll second the motion.
The motion made and seconded that we approve the extension contractual services agreement with Purdue University at the fee of $44,820 for the year 2021. Is there any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes, motion carries. Do you have a signature copy, or do we need to do it online?
No, yes.
No,
Okay,
yes.
you this, no, right here. It's the signature copy.
All right.
No, not online. Yes, I have a copy.
No, yes, yes, and no. Today's date.
You ain't gonna go to sleep with her, are you?
Okay, there's that done. All right, then we'll move on to the contract for cost allocation plan. And I think you have information on that.
Yes, I've sent that to all of you guys. They came through with a bid that would be $1,100 cheaper than what we've been paying for the last several years to Maximus. And Malcon is the company that currently does all of our 4D reporting for the clerk's office and the prosecutor's office. And we've been very satisfied with them.
So then, once the auditor's office goes with this contract, everything will be Malcolm?
Yes.
That,
Yeah, and Betty's indicated she does not want to make a change, so
Right.
I'm not sure about
Right.
this.
and that contract cost is
$4,200 per year,
for a, let's see.
3 year. Isn't it? 3 year?
It's 2 years. Well, it
21,
says
22,
20, 21, 22.
Okay, well, they would do it in 21, but yeah, they would do for the year 20, so it's a
Okay.
3 year.
Okay, all right, I understand. It works a year
Yes.
in arrear then, okay. Be a
Is it
3-year.
3-year contract?
3-year contract.
I'll move to approve the contract with Malcolm.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded that we approve the contract with Malcon. It'd be a 3-year contract for a total of $12,600, $4,200 for each year. Is there any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes, motion carries. You need just my signature?
Yes, just you.
I'll let you fill in, Brian. All right, and then we've got 2021 meeting schedule, 2021 payroll schedule that Jane has presented to us. Did you do that in print?
Yes, it should be first one.
Oh, so we've got the meeting schedule, claims deadline schedule, holiday schedule,
And the payroll
That's
schedule.
and payroll schedule.
I'll move to approve all of
As presented?
those. Yep.
You sure you don't want your birthday put on this holiday schedule?
No, no. I'm
Okay.
so old they don't count birthdays anymore.
All right, well, I'll second your motion.
The motion made and seconded that we approve the calendar, 2021 calendar with the commissioners' meetings, the claims deadline schedule, and the holiday schedule, as well as the pay schedule for pay periods for 2021. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes, motion carries.
I don't know, is that easy? I'd have thrown in another holiday.
Insurance, do you have
Yes.
the information with the insurance?
4 copies of each of them, so if you want to pass them down. She gave us, this is through October, so we can see on that.
We had a meeting with Angela yesterday, went over health insurance proposals. What, I thought she was gonna narrow it down to just what we, they are recommending, Apex is recommending that they negotiated another rate with a different company, with HIG
This includes the Optum.
and Optum with our organ transplant carrier. Those numbers, if you look down here on the page 2, if I can help you understand. On page 2 down here, here is the maximum cost of the plan. Here is the estimated cost of the plan, 1.7 million is the maximum this plan will cost next year. We normally budget for the middle of the road of those two figures, the 1.4 and the 1.7, which it figures out to be about a $300,000, wouldn't it? About $300,000 increase for the total cost
Yes.
over this year's plan.
With those two, yes.
Once we, correct me if I'm wrong, Jane, once we sign a contract or sign it with Apex, then they'll create premium schedules
Yes.
for us to decide whether we want to raise the premium, whether we want to keep the premium the same for our employees. I think we have enough cushion in our fund that you would be safe by leaving the employees' contribution flat again this year, since they didn't get any raises. The council didn't give them any raises. Um,
Well, at the end of the year, if our total cost comes in at their expected risk of 50%, they say expected risk of 50% probability, the 1.4 million there. That's very in line with what we're paying right now.
It's within, I mean,
Yeah.
I think we're currently at, 142 is what we funded this year at. But I would encourage us to try to keep our employee contributions the same figure. This HIG reinsurer company, Angela said Apex has worked with them in the past. They felt no hesitations about us going with that company. The Optum, they offered a 50% reduction
Yes.
in our organ transplant costs, and they also feel confident with Optum. Our costs are higher this year because we have had more higher dollar claims this year, but it's the first year out of 4 that we've been extremely high on, and that is kind of a normal. We could expect or should expect those numbers to drop back down to more of our norm next year. However, like anything else, there's no guarantees.
Right. Well, exceptional years are to be expected. We all know they're coming, you just don't know which
Year to
it's
pick
gonna
it,
be.
pick it out,
Yeah.
pick out. So,
This insurance company, HIG, is there any, did they say if there was any difficulties in them working with area care providers?
we would still be ELAP with our everyday claims. All HIG will do is be our reinsurer once we get above the $75,000 amount. Everything else is handled in-house by ELAP and paid through us because we are self-insured up to that $75,000. They are going to write a specific, aggregating specific deductible as well, and that's $75,000 rather than the $100,000 that we currently have with Crum and Forrester. But basically, today we need a motion to, with what plan we're going with. We need this price is only good till the 27th of this month. They're gonna hold this price till then, this bid.
Did they point out any downside to any changes that this year's policy compared to next year's?
No, I don't remember, I don't recall anything.
So everything pretty much the same?
Yeah, yeah. They didn't expect anything to change as far as serviceability, as far as the plan was concerned, because it's basically the same layout, same plan that we've currently been under. It's just a different underwriter for our reinsurer. But this is, with the HIG plan, is the cheapest. Our current reinsurer, their best bid come in at 1.9 million maximum funding.
Who is that?
Our current reinsurer, Crum,
The current reinsurer?
yeah,
Okay.
Crum and Forrester.
Okay.
the company we're currently with for reinsurance. So it's a significant savings by going with HIG.
So do we have anything else we need to do on this?
We'll need a motion to approve the plan as presented for the bid from from HIG and Optum. I would assume that, is that the language we need?
We need to accept HIG and Optum
As our reinsurers.
reinsurers. Do we need to do?
And that plan would be the one, the very last column.
Yeah. Okay, do we need to do anything officially with for Apex's consideration?
Well, Apex along with these reinsurers.
Okay. All right, I'll try to make a motion here, see if it.
I think it can be very, we can make it as detailed as you want, but I think it can be pretty simple.
Well, I'll move to approve the agreement between Fayette County and Apex Insurance Company with the changes in the stop loss insurer changed from Crum and Foster to HIG, and the organ transplant underwriter from Swiss Re to Optum. Is that specific enough, Jane?
Yes.
Okay.
Motion made, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded that we approve the quote from HIG and Optum for, as well as Apex for our health insurance plan for 2021. Are there any questions or comments? All in favor?
All right.
3 ayes. And like I said, once they send us the premium costs or the monthly cost breakdown, then we can decide on whether we want to back that off to and keep the employees flat, or whether we want to raise the premium cost. But there would be a little bit of a raise if we followed these numbers. All right. Also, I think Jane forwarded to both of you the email that she received from Jason Simler from Baker Tilly. We had a meeting with Jason 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. And I asked him to look at our current revenues. We've been talking about potential projects across the street there, whether that be the Dollar General, the annex, the jail, and so on and so forth. And everybody seemed to think, well, we can't afford to do anything, so why are we looking at any of it? And I guess what I wanted to show you, the current scenario with the courthouse. We use a special edit money and a 6-cent tax rate, property tax rate, that is a capital improvement levy that we've had for years to pay that bond off. Well, that will mature in 8 years, and we could take that same levy and roll into another capital project. And his estimates, he give a couple of scenarios. If it was to include, if the project, a project would include the annex, Rick Hall says that we could continue using some of the special edit monies to pay a new bond. So he has showed two different figures. If we could use some of that money, if it ended up, we did included the annex as part of the renovations or capital project, you could do a $10 million project. If you did not include that, then you could do approximately an $8 million project. Approximately $9 million, it's 8.7, and not cost any new tax dollars. So I just felt that we needed to throw those numbers out so that everybody could see them, that you could use your current revenue and still make plans for a major capital project. So many times, Fayette County, we've had to piecemeal things together, $100,000 here and $100,000 there, and normally we paint the same thing with $200,000 or $300,000 projects and do the same thing 3 or 4 different times instead of doing it right the first time. And with this kind of information, then the commissioners and the council can honestly sit down and hopefully plan on a project that's done right the first time and do it all at once instead of piecemealing things. But
I looked his figures over, and that's certainly all very useful information.
well, it is, and I think it would behoove the folks next year to take strong consideration to those numbers and look at a project, because it'll be very difficult for the county to ever obtain a tax levy, property tax levy for any capital projects, if that.
Now, does this
Any new
include your architect fee and all that?
That's how much you can bond
Oh, okay.
and pay back. Now, like when we did the courthouse project, we used a lot of the cum cap funds for our engineering or our architectural fees and whatnot, and paid those up front. And that certainly does not limit you to your cash availability. I mean, for down payments or upfront costs or that kind of stuff. But these numbers are just what could be bonded with our current revenues sources. That would be using the jail tax. There's about $250,000 of it that the council does not have appropriated of revenue that they're hoping to set back for capital and projects. And you could use that as your initial bond payment until the courthouse bond was paid off, and then you would roll up in that tax levy that's currently being paid on the courthouse into that project. And I would hope that everyone would look at the needs across the street, period. I mean, that annex is very deployed, in very bad conditions. It needs an elevator put back in it so we can utilize the whole building, the square footage. It needs a lot more work than just that. And if you're going to maintain that building, we need to spend some money on that building. And not nickel and dimes, we need to spend some major money on that building.
The last estimate we had on that elevator over there was $100,000 for replacing it. That's been several years ago.
And that's replacing it in the current shaft.
And it's, yeah, it's
But
current location.
if you was to go on the outside of the building and revamp things, you might be able to do it for less than that, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Or do it for the same money,
Yeah.
at the very least. But we have square footage upstairs that's not being utilized because we don't have the elevator. And to be quite honest with you, gentlemen, we have no handicapped accessibility to the probation offices now. The best you've got is the old Sally Port. Because you've got to climb stairs to get to the main office area of the probation department.
Yeah. It's not very convenient, that's for sure.
It's another, what I would say, suit waiting to happen. So I really think we need to really address it as a project as well. But that was all I had on that with Baker Tilly. I thought that was quite interesting. That was the numbers I had thought in my mind that we were close to being able to do. So, anything else? Need to come before us today.
Not for me.
Is there a motion for claims and payroll as presented?
I move to approve claims and payroll.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to approve claims and payroll as presented. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes. Motion carries. Jeff, I apologize. I forgot to ask if you had anything for us today.
Nope, I'm good.
I figured you would speak up or throw something at me.
I'd step in. I'm not scared to speak up.
I might add that APC was scheduled to have a public hearing on the 19th of November for a public hearing on a amendment to the ordinance, CFO ordinance, and that has been postponed due to the capacity restrictions on people. Ed felt that Harold, as the president, he felt that it was necessary for us to hold off on that, so.
Well, with a hearing like that, City Hall probably wouldn't be able to hold them all, would it?
We were planning on the Miller building anyway. It was
Yeah,
gonna be
right.
at the Miller building. sir.
Pretty productive. Got a lot of stuff.
Everything? Yep. I'll move to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion made, seconded for adjournment. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes, motion carries. Meeting adjourned.